Hey everybody, Roxbox90 here with day 3 of Dragon's Tarkir spoilers. Apologies for the late delay in the upload, but I'm gonna get yesterday's and today's spoilers all up, as well as a quick look at Magic Origins, which is pretty neat. So first up we have a Zombie Lord, and he is 4 for a 4/3 zombie. He can't block, and other creatures, zombie creatures you control get 1/1. Classic Lord. And you can cast him from your graveyard if you pay an additional 1 black for each other creature in your graveyard, which pretty much means as long as you have a delve mechanic in limited, this card is really annoying, really annoying to deal with, because he can keep coming back and he's not that expensive. He also works well with the small zombie sub-theme we've been seeing in Dragon's Tarkir. I kind of don't know why there's a zombie sub-theme going on when the set's so obviously on dragons, and providing a mythic just for zombies, it just seems really random. But he's definitely a powerful card, and for casual, for commander, for limited, he's going to be a monster. I don't think there's enough zombies for him to be quite good enough for standard. Lightning Berserker 1 and 1/1 for human berserker with dash of 1, and he can fire breathe. I usually don't like 1 for 1/1s, at least in limited, but this guy actually has potential, I think, just because you can play him as 1 for 1/1 haste, no problem, and get him back in your hand. And if you draw him late game, it's not the end of the world, because he can be cast down and be really annoying for your opponent to be attacking into, and even early on to be attacking into, to be trading. It's super easy to play around with board states with this guy, and I think that makes him pretty decent for a 1/1. Narset Transcendant. Yes, Narset is a planeswalker. We kind of speculated about whether or not she would be back and whether she'd be a planeswalker. The answer is yes to both. And 2, a white and blue. Yes, another white-blue planeswalker after Venser. 4 for 6 loyalty. Wow. +1. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a non-creature, non-land card, you can reveal it and put it in your hand. So pseudo card draw for decks that have lots of non-creature, non-land cards, which is most kind of Jeskai style decks. So that's interesting, or at least more Jeskai control-y kind of decks. Going to be super powerful for commander. Very interesting to build around. -2, whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery, it gains rebound. This is interesting because it's not copy the spell, it gains rebound, which is a pro and a con. It's a con. Chandra's -2, I think, kind of was the same effect, except you copy a spell, and that is more impactful at the moment. But with the rebound, you can recast the spell the following turn. So if you have anything that connects with casting of spells, it's not just a copy, it's a casting of a new spell, and that could potentially be powerful if it's worked around. So it has its pros, it has its cons. Is it better than Chandra's -2? It's just different. I like it regardless. I think it's pretty useful. And then -9, you get an emblem with your opponents can't cast non-creature spells. That's just funny, kind of because she feels like a control stacksy card, and that embodies her, that your opponents can't cast non-creature spells. And given that she starts with 6 loyalty, wow, or 7 most of the time, she'll be 7, 4 for a 7 loyalty. Holy cow, she's going to be really hard to deal with, to get rid of in limited. And in commander, I think she's going to be absolutely amazing. Is she good enough for standard? I don't know. Chandra we kind of thought would be, but she didn't. And she's more flexible. Chandra, the firebrand. But she's also more flexible to play, but she doesn't have any pseudo card draw. Narset kind of does, so we'll have to see, but I think she's definitely a very flexible, powerful card regardless. Foe Razor Regent is 7 for a 4/5 flying dragon. Whenever he enters the battlefield, you may have it fight a creature you don't control. Whenever a creature you control fights, you get 2/1 counters on at the beginning of the next end step. So basically, 7 for a 4/5 flying, that if it removes your opponent's creature and doesn't die, it becomes 7 for a 6/7 flying. And it's a 1/1 theme, which is pretty good in the larger cons block. I also like that it is effectively a removal spell on a creature. Powerful enough for limited? Heck yeah. Powerful for anything else? Not so sure. Not even in commander. I don't know if I love it. If you have a deck with +1/+1 counter incentives, then it could work, especially because it's whenever a creature you control, not just itself. Interesting card, more of a build around. Dragon Lord Servant. Yes, we wanted a card like this. A 1/3 for 2 that makes dragons cost less. A shoo-in in limited automatically, especially if you're running, and the art is just hilarious. Dragon Fodder. This kind of fits with the exploit mechanic. Going to be powerful for that kind of thing in limited. Scaleguard Sentinels. 2 for a 2/3 that if you cast it, you can reveal a dragon card from your hand. If you do, or if you control a dragon, it's 2 for a 3/4. Whoa, that's really awesome. And it's a human. Wow, that's really cool. A little narrow, but in this set, definitely doable. Meringue, River Skeleton, this is kind of a it's a Megamorph cycle at uncommon. It's a 1/1 for 2 with regenerate that can Megamorph. I don't really care. I don't understand why the Megamorph really matters on this guy, to be honest. And it's basically a drudgy skeletons kind of card. I was never a huge fan, but they can be really decent in limited. Aven Sunstriker is interesting. A 1/1 flying double strike for 3, which is normal, makes sense, we've seen it before, but as Megamorph, so for 5 flipped up, it becomes a 2/2 flyer double strike, which could really swing the game very quickly. It's not quite there, but it's pretty strong, and I think it has a chance of being a pretty good chance of being useful in limited. Storm, Crag, Elemental, 6 for 5/5 trample, good body, fits a curve, wonderful, and then the Megamorph. Megamorph is a little less flexible, but you get a 6/6 trample for 6, and it's definitely a good card to flip up on when your opponents attack, or if they don't block. Goodol Lurker is 1 for 1/1, can't be blocked with Megamorph. I kind of don't. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you Megamorph him up, you get a 2/2 unblockable. Could be a game winner in limited, but otherwise, I don't think it's super good. Salt Road Ambushers, whenever another permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, you get 2/1 counters on it. That's super awesome, because that's, I believe, in addition to the Megamorph, so you get 3 1/1 counters. This guy's really good. Really, really, really good. With the others, and also just in general. I like it a lot. Evolving Wilds is very nice, especially for a set that's going to have multicolor elements, and Cons as a block has multicolor elements, so having a card that lets you search your deck for a specific color seems good, and I like the art more than pretty much every other Evolving Wild ever. Last up today, we have Dragon Lord Colligan, 6 for a 6/5 flying haste Elder Dragon. It's weird, there's so much blue going on in this picture, blue and red when it's red-black. It's a little kind of weird just to the mind, to my eyes, but it's still super awesome art. I just want one foil for the art. Other creatures you control have haste, so it's a huge body that gives other creatures haste. Very cool. Whenever an opponent casts a creature or planeswalker spell with the same name as a card in his or her graveyard, that player loses 10 life. What the what? Okay, I mean, that, yeah. Well, absolutely broken and limited, just as a huge body, and also if your opponent has multiples of anything, they will suddenly be unable to cast them 90% of the time. It also, I think, because of that, because it's an immediate attacker, it gives everything else after it, as long as it's around, haste. It's a flyer, and it prevents your opponent from playing multiple copies of things they've already cast. Definitely has potential in standard. I really do think, especially in aggro Mardu kind of style decks, this card is really, really strong as a curve topper. I mean, yeah, it's above Colligan, and it's expensive, but I definitely think a 1 or maybe 2 of could really provide problems for people in terms of shutting down a large part of their deck. Well, I realize it's only creature or planeswalker, but there are plenty of creature-heavy decks in standard, and this card, wow, yeah, cool. It's kind of useless in Commander in that sense, because we don't get doubles in Commander of cards. So that's sad, because it seems like a Commander mechanic, but it's actually not for Commander. It's really just really strong and limited. I definitely think it has a good chance of seeing play in Constructed. So that is, I understand that's technically March 4th, but we got some pretty awesome cards. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about them down below in the comment section. I'll be coming up with today's spoilers shortly, so stay tuned. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.